So I think I'm going to returning to Yu-Gi-Oh! Welcome back. I feel fantastic starting this up yet again, though I do feel like I have some explaining to do. So back in 2020, as we all know, the world came to a halt. No more regionals, no more locals, and I essentially stopped playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh! With the exception of Mario and I's essentially made up anti-floodgate format. And while that was a lot of fun, the world is getting back on its feet. Locals are opening back up again, and I would like to re-entertain the idea of returning to Yu-Gi-Oh! I am perpetually returning man after all. Now, admittedly, this won't be my first locals back. I did play under a handful with Infernobles, and they went quite well. We were able to take some matches on Drytron, Tri-Brigade, and the second one, I was actually able to come second, only losing to Tri-Brigade. So we know that deck is strong, and I wanted the inaugural episode here to start with something special. It is returning to Yu-Gi-Oh! We return with a singular deck, so let's grab the book and break out some classics. That's right, we are going back to Heroes. You knew it was happening, but with Burst of Destiny being just around the corner, I did really want to test the deck, figure out what I felt worked well in the current meta. That way, when the new cards do drop, we have a very solid list to work with. And so let's talk about some of the larger card choices I know I want to make. We haven't actually had hero support, so we're adding in solid staples like that of droplets and talents. Board breakers like Super Poly will also be incorporated to help us out cards like that of Dragoon or Ultimateness, as we do have access to the Shining. Fusion Destiny is also a must, but the targets are going to look a little bit unconventional. Dynatag is used so we can boost Dystopia for a free pop on our opponent's turn if we don't have Sunriser or Dread Decimator. Additionally, Draw Hand is used as a free body for Mask Change, by the way, both of which will be replaced by Enforcer and Denier once the new set comes out. And I wouldn't recommend it for decks that aren't heroes once Enforcer does come out. In those scenarios, you'll probably want to be playing with a Celestial and a Dasher. Also, to appease the DB grinder, we will be playing 40. You've gotta love to see it. But no, actually, I just do think 40 is the correct ratio for going first heroes when you want to open Mask Change. It also just makes drawing your side cards a lot easier, and we are siding crossouts. So hopefully we can see those when the nibs decide to drop, as they always do when we play heroes. It's an inevitability. I do think siding it is better than maining it, at least right now. And I'm not even sure if I want to side it. I feel like it's great in very specific decks, but I don't know if Heroes is that deck yet. Sometimes you can play around Nibiru, but sometimes you also can't. Sometimes you do have to go through those longer combos. So we'll see what happens. But cross out at this point, I'm very iffy on. Also, I didn't realize how late it is getting. So I will see you Saturday, and we'll see what happens. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back. We have a completed hero list, but we also have a package to open together. So let's endeavor into the fastest box opening we've seen on YouTube ever of all time. Best, greatest, keywords, insert keywords, keywords here, keywords. I'm going to try to do this in under a minute. We're going to look for the bird cards because you'll probably see Lyrilisk on the channel at some point, hopefully soon. Terratop and Floral Knights, Stilts and a Nightingale, Marble and High Speedroid Clear Wing Rider. That's a new one. Kite Drake, Duke, Robin. Oh man, that is our third copy. Phantom Feathers, Thrush, Turbo Warrior, Bird Call. Oh, awesome. That is a 3 of. I did not have any, but it is either a Rhoda or a Foolish. Phantom Feathers, Warrior, Red Eye Dice. Oh, that's our second. That is our second Baron de Fleur. Totem Bird. Sanctuary. And oh, that is a new card for the Fleur archetype. That's a Revolution. Revolution. Last pack, we have a Duke, Explorer, Fleur, Draco Phoenix, and a Nightingale, ending with the Lyralists. Now, if you want to see the commons or the rares, I do have a 12-minute video up on the channel where we do cover all of that as well. But I was really looking for the birds. We're getting really close to actually finishing that archetype, so very happy there. But let's jump back to heroes. Now, I think heroes have a lot of potential, but our initial locals will solely be about testing. I'm running a lot of cards that I don't necessarily think are correct, but I really want to see how they do. So week one, we're going in not with the intent to win, but rather with the intent to learn, to see what cards work and what cards don't. So in week number 2, episode 2, we can really bring it and attempt to chase that first place victory. At this point, I think I'd be very happy with winning half my matches. So if I go 2-2, I think that's great, especially for an untested list that I haven't personally played with in a really, really long time. But again, I want to gather enough information for us to attempt to win in week number 2. I am going to hit the showers. Mandatory Konami rule, by the way, before you go to your tournament. So thank you, Konami. But after that, we'll meet up with the friends, have some fun, and enjoy a brand new journey and adventure together. That's really what it is.
Oh, wow.
Hi, would I be able to get a large double-double?
This card, the 90s, by the way. Just kidding. I was gonna say the 90s.
Okay, I got the normal art.
Blank. So I assume you want to pre-order 3 of this structure deck. I want to see your stuff.
Now, I'm not going to walk you through all of the games and all of the matches. We'll pick and choose, but I will walk you through the first one just so you're familiar with modern heroes and what they can do. Match 1 was against my old workout buddy Wes, who you probably fondly remember from the very first season of Return to Yu-Gi-Oh! But I did win the dice roll, which, as you know, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Does tend to mean a lot. So I began by firing off an e-call, searching a Stratos from deck to hand. Then I activated a second e-call to grab a Shadow Mist, which essentially offered me full combo. Now we normal summon the Stratos, which searches me a Vision Hero Ferris. I reveal said Ferris in hand, discarding the Shadow Mist to special the Ferris. Ferris allows me to place an increase into my spawn trap card zone, and then I proceed to tribute the Ferris to special the newly acquired increase. Increase's effect triggers on summon, which allows me to special a Vision Hero Vion from deck. Vion sends a Malicious to grave, and I link the two into a Crusader, which still doesn't have a foil printing. Konami, where? Anyway, Crusader brought back a Malicious, and then I proceeded to tribute it with its effect so I could search a hero from deck to hand, that hero being a Liquid Soldier. Next, I activated the Hard Drawn Poly to make a Sunriser with Vion and Liquid Soldier. This allows me to search a Miracle Fusion, then draw 2 and discard 1. Draw hand was discarded as it can special summon itself during the next standby phase as food for a Dark Claw. Miracle Fusion was then activated to banish both Liquid Soldier and Stratos, summoning Absolute Zero from the extra deck. I then banished Malicious to summon the second copy from deck, offering me yet another needed body. Mally and Cross are then linked into Wonder Driver, which will then later allow me to reset the mask change, and I set 2 before passing it on over to Wes, having access to, of course, Dark Law, Acid, and we have some battle protection as well. With that, he draws, and on his standby phase, draw hand is special summon back to my board. Wes then proceeds to set not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 in the back row. Then, during the end phase, I activate Mask Change, which turns my 0 into Acid, clears the entirety of his back row, and he can't do anything, right? It's not my turn, he can't chain, and so we move on to game number 2. Winning that dice roll, it's a very powerful thing. So evidently a couple of misplays there in game 1 already, but it is returning to Return to Yu-Gi-Oh! I wanted to go into this as cold as I possibly could, so no test hands, no testing with the deck. I wanted that true, just natural jump into it experience, and I do feel like all of the misplays I'm making are misplays I see, which is really important. It's information I know and I have. I just kind of forgot it over the last year, but it is coming back. I am feeling confident. And again, week 1 is really about learning, where week 2, what's coming up, that is where we are really going to try to take it. But with that, we did win game 1. let's head into game 2. Wes opted to go first, and I unfortunately didn't draw any sideboarded backer removal. With that, he activates Extra, banishes 6 for cost, and draws 2. Next, he summons Meluseek? I have no idea what half of these Altergeist cards are named, or do, for that matter, but we are doing our best. Anyways, he links it off into the link invoked players use and searches a multi-faker from deck to hand. After that, he activates Secret Village of the Spellcasters, and then he sets 3 before passing back. Miraculously, I am able to break through that board and eventually get to a Verte and a Kondo, which I pay to summon a Dystopia. Dystopia burns for 1600. I banish Identitag Engraved to give Dystopia an extra 1000 attack. We go to battle, and just like that, we get the OTK, taking the first match of the tournament.
Alright. That's true. So what's next for you then, Jordan?
Match 2, I was playing against Carter, previously our resident Pendulum player, but now consistently our PK player. With that, I drew a good hand, but it did require Stratos to resolve, and well, he did not. I lost that game, as he pushed through both Super Poly and Imperm. Phantom Knights can be kind of wild. With that, game 2 was significantly more promising. Despite drawing a crossout target, I was able to fully combo, ending on a double mask change, a Wonder Driver to reset one of those mask change. I also had 0 for a full board wipe, Mist for a Dark Law, Sunriser for battle protection, and a Lancia in hand. However, none of that mattered when Carter drew and dropped the Red Eyes Fusion. Dragoon burned for massive damage, swung in, and well, we are now 1-1. Well, we are now 1-1, which I feel like is acceptable. Again, I only want 2 match wins, or at least that is our goal for week 1. We have 2 more matches to get it, and now that we have a loss, maybe we'll play a deck that's more in a similar tier 2 heroes, maybe like a tier 3, maybe 4 deck. We'll see what happens, but let's jump into match number 3. The next match was against Brandon and Drytron. He got paired down, won the dice roll, comboed, and that's how we lost game 1. For the record, I did draw Droplet, but I didn't draw a monster to send off of it, so, you know, it is what it is. Game 2, I drew a great hand, but it required Stratos to resolve, and if it didn't, I just lost. So I forgoed some advantage and opted for a safer, less greedy play. I discarded Stratos for Ferris, so regardless of if Ferris got hit with an Imperm, I would still have a Dark on board rather than a Wind for the Mask Change and Dark Law. From there, I was able to combo and ended on a Dark Law, Driver, 0, and a Mask Change with a set Droplet. He activated Dark Ruler No More, turning off my board, and upon summoning Diviner, I activated my Mask Change, summoned the second Dark Law, and he couldn't play through its banishing effect, so we are actually going into a game 3. Brandon began by using Instant Fusion to turn off hand traps I didn't actually have, and proceeded to combo into Perfection, IP, Beatrice, and of course Orange Light. Quite the board to break. I start by trying to bait some negates by summoning Ferris, but it holds. He waits till resolution and then makes a Unicorn with IP, attempting to spin the Ferris back. Then the following occurs. Activate Mask Change on Ferris. Activate Perfection. Chain Mask Change on Ferris. Activate Perfection. Chain increase on Ferris.
Jesus Christ.
Activate Perfection. Pretty wild, but I did save my normal, so I summoned Solid Soldier and used his effect to special the Vion from hand, which dumps a Mali to grave and allows me to combo all the way to victory. Admittedly, in time, and had time not been called, who knows what would have happened, but it is a win on Drytron, and it is 2 matches, which was our larger goal for the day. Locals are getting pretty wild tonight.
You said you were gonna play Acquisition, you lying.
I would never.
Oh God. You see, this is the best deck.
The last one was admittedly a little too far on his part. Anyway, on to match number 4. I was playing against Ian, who was, of course, memeing with the Shaddoll mat. I believe Ganon was also doing so with the Cyber Strike. But with that, game 1, we got nibbed. Game 2, we OTK'd. And game 3, we proceeded to not draw a crossout. Of course, why did I buy those cards? And we got nibbed yet again. sometimes you can play around Nib, sometimes you can't. And well, here we are. Well, after a long break with the deck, we were able to at least get the passing grade I wanted. And again, next week, this coming Saturday, I want to take the win. In the very least, I want second place, but I do really think this deck has a lot of potential moving forward. I realized a lot of cards that I don't want to be playing and quite a few that I definitely do want to be playing. So we'll make some big edits for week number 2, and at that point, I will give you an actual list. Also, I feel like I was misplaying a lot in the earlier games here, but when we got to the 4th round, well, we did play in a Nibiru. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you just can't get to Dark Law without going through their summons. But despite that, I do feel like technical play got a lot better. I felt like I was able to remember a lot more and things started to click on a greater level. So I'm really excited. I think that this coming Saturday is going to be great. I want to play Heroes again. I really want to. You know, going into it, I was a little apprehensive because, well, it's a very nostalgic and classic deck. I think we all know it's like tier 3 maybe. And I just wasn't sure what we could do. But I have a lot of confidence for the next week, and I just love being back. Over the last year, have gone back and rewatched different portions of Return to Yu-Gi-Oh! The original series, and I love that I had so many of those memories saved on camera in these vlogs, and that's something I really want to do here again. I want to make them special, but I want to create a little time capsule for us to relive, and for me and my friends to kind of just have for years to come. So thank you for supporting me, for supporting this, for watching these, for getting this far in the video. I always really appreciate it when people are, you know, willing to listen to me talk to the end. There we go. Episode 1 in the books. Thank you for being here on day 1 of it. And yeah, I will see you soon. Peace and love.